Hello and welcome. Oh, we have some new icons up here now. Things just keep changing, don't they? I wanted to come on just to talk about some of these energies and some of the messages that I have received in my own meditations and contemplation. Actually, there's been no contemplation, it's mostly just through meditation. And it says that I am live, so I am doing this live stream on February 14th, so this is celebrated by many as Valentine's Day. I do see it differently, but I'm not going to even go into that because that's not my intention to rain on anybody's Valentine parade. But I do want to talk about the energy that we are in currently, and some of the more in-depth messages and things that have come up for me. And I did do a live stream on Facebook the other day. I'm going to kind of retouch on some of those things briefly and then go a little deeper into some of this energy and why I titled this Fate versus Destiny. Because everything in life is always about choices. We do have choices, and we are the ones that determine whether we are going to open the energy up for fated events. Hello, Granny Paula. Or we're going to open up to the energy of destiny, which does require a leap of faith. But before I even get into that, what I was talking about the other day that I was noticing, and I feel like this energy has been culminating. Pluto is very active, and it's very just touching into Aquarius. We've already had Mercury crossover or conjunct Pluto. Today is the exact conjunction of Mars with Pluto, and followed in a few days will be the exact conjunction of Venus to Pluto. Although we have an extended orb, so we're already in the mix of all of this energy. And so we'll touch on that along with Chiron in a conjunction. It will be exact by next week with the North Node in Aries. And as I was saying in my last live, the last time Chiron was in a conjunction with the North Node was in 2008. So as we repeat cycles, as we go from cycle to cycle, we are reflecting, we are maybe revisiting certain traumas or core wounds that may have been catalyzed in 2008 that brought up whatever is still within us as far as insecurities, pain, all kinds of things. A lot of the other things that we are working through is trying to disentangle ourselves from certain ties, enmeshments, and all like this. It's like a bunch of cords all bundled up and wrapped up, and we can't seem to pull away from certain energies. And from the messages I was receiving, a lot of this really has to do again with the core, which would be the very first humans that we interact with when we're born. Hello, hi Lisa. That we were born into parents or caregivers. And I was explaining my experience with my energetic connection with my dad while he was alive, and now he's no longer alive on the planet, but I still felt that very strongly. And these are karmic ties, these are ancestral ties even. But then along the lines, we do meet up with other soul contracts that have the same essence or blueprint of the lesson and the entanglement that we're meant to disentangle ourselves from. So whatever you're working through right now that brings up shame, low self-worth, insecurities, pain, it definitely has a very deep link and tie to experiences that we had when we were extremely vulnerable and extremely innocent. Although we are all always vulnerable and innocent, we do kind of grow a tough outer shell throughout our lifetime, and this is another thing that we're trying to kind of untangle from. So speaking of Chiron conjuncting the North Node, the last time Chiron was in a conjunction to the North Node was in 2008. The last time Chiron was in a conjunction to the North Node in Aries was 1969. So we're also looking at collective energy here and how we are breaking free from the forces and the patterns and belief systems that held us contained in a box. Okay, my video is uploaded. Okay, held us contained in a box. And I can see collectively that we may have another repeat. There's always an opportunity, a window to repeat history from 1969, which of course there was the Vietnam War that was going on. There were also a lot of openings for people coming together to protest and coming together for peace, coming together for justice, coming together for equality, for the races, for the genders, for all kinds of things, right? So we'll see how it plays out on the world stage this year, but we're just beginning to really feel and experience this energy, which will be carrying us throughout the year, I feel. Another thing I was speaking about in my last live was I had woken up from a dream that was very vivid, and I was getting a lot of visuals on energy and how we have the waves of the ups and the downs, and the ups and the downs. Some waves we're feeling connected and we feel alive and good, and then we drop down into like a lower density, and we kind of forget that we were in a higher frequency, or we were connected, and we forget we're meant to bring down with us the messages, what we have learned, our new perceptions, the way that we interact with the world. When we're in the higher frequencies, bring that down into remembrance when we're in the lower frequencies or the lower density. But we're still ascending the earth, humans. So we're waving, but we're waving as we go up. So each time we drop back down is just another opportunity to propel us back up, so we have a higher baseline, if that makes sense. So if you reflect back, even just a few years ago, of when you were dropped down, how long that lasted, how intense it was, or how you could get stuck in negative thoughts and negative situations, leading us to making poor choices for ourselves or poor decisions for ourselves, based out of fear, based out of, which then brings me to, which has been coming up in a lot of the readings today especially, it brings me to the fate and destiny, because this is a journey for us in developing a level of a sense of self that allows us to listen to the inner guidance that directs our choices versus being controlled by outer forces and outer guidance and influences that control our choices and our decisions. This is the difference between fate and destiny. Choice is really the most significant power that we possess. Yes, we could argue love. Love is the highest frequency. That is our power. But it is a choice to love. It is a choice to give love. It is a choice to receive love. It's a choice to walk in love. So, Lisa says, yes, that sounds right. Yep. Granny Paula says, phew. Yeah, and I will talk about some of the physical experiences that could occur in especially the last week or so. And I've been still keeping an eye on the Schumann. That's spiked again today pretty rapidly. So I'll get there. Every choice we make is an act of creation for ourselves in every given moment. It is our power. And it changes everything, our choices, right? Including the words that we choose to hear, the words that we choose to say, the thoughts that we choose to believe. I mean, it goes down to the very nitty-gritty. It's always a choice. How we choose to direct the life force that flows through us towards life, towards others, towards our experiences, whether we are withholding love, withholding grace. Everything is a choice. It's always a choice. And the quality of choices that we make and how we discern what really empowers us makes a big difference. Makes a big difference in what's happening in your personal world and in our world as a collective. So fate is when we allow either our past, our history, our past experiences, our fears, other people's experiences, or other people's opinions, or other people telling us what you should and shouldn't do, to be the big factor in what choice and decision we make, even though internally there is an underlying source of guidance that's directing us to do something or go somewhere. If we allow our past, our narrative of fear hold us back, all the excuses, right? We can make a million different excuses as to why we don't make changes, as to why we don't book that trip, or why we don't do anything. But there's an inner narrative there, and it is linked to the past. It is also linked to other people who have influence over us. And it's up to us. Are we going to allow these influences of the past and these influences of other people be the basis of our choices and decisions that we make in every given moment? We are going to stay in that karmic wheel of the same old, and we're going to allow fate to bring to us the lessons and the experiences that seem to be repeating themselves over and over and over again until we make a new choice or a new decision. So we're really giving our power away to fate when we stay in that repetitive loop, which we're all, to the most degree, conditioned and programmed to do so. Happy Valentine's Day to you too, Tom. Thank you. But at the same time, we are left in a repetitive loop that seems to be the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We also are fated to have the similar experiences that other people have because we trust them more than we trust ourselves. We trust others and we trust the past. We're always looking behind, always looking back. This is fear that drives this, fear of safety. I don't trust the unknown. I don't feel safe in what I don't know, in what is not familiar. So I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to just keep doing the same thing that I do because this is the only thing that makes me feel safe. But at the same token, you're going to just continue to churn around the same lessons, the same experiences. And sure, life's going to throw in some monkey wrenches here and there to try to help you, like a little fire under your ass, try to help you jump out of that karmic wheel, jump out of fate, because truly our soul and universe wants us to move onto the destined path. Oh, I just went live about 15 minutes ago. So, hi Martin. Hi Mr. Hitler, we must look to rebirth. Yes, rebirth has been coming up a lot too in a lot of my readings. Personal and collective. But let me stay on track here. So that's fate in a nutshell. When we make the choice not to trust the unknown and the unfamiliar, and we instead allow ourselves to gauge our choice at all the time, whether it's withholding love, whether it's withholding grace, whether it's withholding anything, whatever it is. It can be big things too. When we make the choice to stay in the same old familiar, because there's fear, but there's more than just fear. There's a million different excuses. There's a big part inside that is trying to protect it, the ego, trying to protect. So it's going to make a million different excuses, which actually may sound like your parents sometimes, or your teachers or something else. Million different excuses why you shouldn't, why you can't. And if we stay in that lane, and as well as look to other people like they know how to guide our lives, we stay in that fated loop. When we finally make the choice to, and it usually takes a very heavy duty, cataclysmic experience to propel us out of that loop, to break free from that which had contained us in this karmic wheel over and over and over again. Sure, you might have a couple different experiences, but it all ends up feeling and being the same. Many of us will have enough. I've had enough. That's not working. It doesn't feel good. I don't like it. Something's got to change. Yes, your choices, your decisions. When we finally make the choice to drop expectations, to leap into the unknown, to follow our internal navigational system, our heart, our dreams, our desires, when we finally decide, I'm going to give this a try. What have I got? I got nothing else to lose at this point. Usually that's what it takes. It takes like losing everything. I got nothing else to lose. Why not take a leap of faith? Well, there's still going to be underlying fear, but at that point, you've had enough of the fated karmic wheel, and now pivot towards destiny. So when we have that, when we jump into the unfamiliar and the unknown, we also don't have expectations suddenly. We can't, because we don't know what we're getting into. The expectations will be a handicap for the most part for anything that you do. It's us projecting ourselves into the future as to how we want things to go and seem exactly, and then holding that, having that in a holding pattern, so then when we actually get to the experience, if it's not even close to our expectations, you're going to find yourself disappointed. So the universe works in mysterious ways, but this is pretty basic. When we jump into the unknown, the unfamiliar, we don't have expectations. We don't know what we're getting ourselves into, but at the same time, it's refreshing, it's new, it's an adventure. And hi, Nicole. And we open up the psychic stream of destiny, which begins to unfold. And in the beginning, it begins to unfold as synchronicities, number sequences, all the signs and the synchronicities suddenly start to pop open, and it's like life starts talking to you. Yeah, because you surrendered. You're like, I'm not going to let my mind and my past and my narrative and my fear and other people put a monkey wrench in this flow of energy. Finally, you break free, and life's like, yes, now I can begin to unfold for you. And it will do that. But when we start to then have expectations on where we're flowing to or where everything is taking us, it can be a bumpy ride. We can really jack up the energy stream and cause delays, that's why I'm always saying, get out of your way and go with the flow and stay in your lane, kind of thing. Spiritual ? Unclean spirits, maybe. I'm not sure about your comment there. I'm going to keep going though. Where was I going? So that's the difference between destiny and fate. When we finally have had enough of our old ways, our old patterns, our old beliefs about ourselves, about life, when we finally make the choice that feels right, when we're finally going by our feeling and not the fear, not the thoughts, not the okay, I thought so. Sorry about that, guys. Martin says, I learned today to need to work with a diary. A moon opposite Saturn requires that I do. I learned something today. Journaling and diary, yeah, is very helpful for sure. Especially when we get to retrogrades or we get to reflection, and we can actually, it can be a very helpful tool for sure. Man, that no sage person just wiped my memory clean. Let me just whew, there's some energy today, man. So with all that said, while I have you all here, I just ask that maybe we can all get together for just a moment to say a prayer, put out healing energy, love energy out for my good friend Paula and her grandbaby who is going through some health, some medical extremes right now. And for Paula, for Renly, let's just all collectively put out this prayer, this positivity, because that helps. And the more and more of us that can do that, the better, because we're always participating with the collective stream of energy. We're always putting out there, and we're also receiving. When we're stuck in the fated loop, we're only putting out and receiving the same old thing regurgitated over and over and over again. Are you guys still there? Because I don't know what happened with no sage, but it seemed to freeze things up a little bit. You're here, okay. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to put your personal stuff out there, but I just thought that a collective prayer would be helpful. I know that collective prayer is very helpful in situations like these. And I know that everything is going to be okay. Everything happens for a reason. And again, it's always a choice as to where we're going to allow our thoughts to take us, where we're going to allow the energy to take us. Are we going to trust in the universe? Are we going to trust in a source, a life force of energy that is the creator of all? That is, okay, you're all still here. Patsy, too. I'm still here. Okay. Oh, Patsy's going through that too. Blessings, joy, happiness, laughter. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's nice that we're all together here and are able to share the love and the positivity and the desire to continue to evolve and grow and work with the energy, because we're, these energies, sometimes they seem, especially when we're in a lot of trickster energy, it seems like the universe is against us, the energy is against us, and it's really truly not. It's really working for our best, our highest and greatest good. It's us. We're the ones that get in the way and think we know, or cause ourselves great pain and suffering by our thought, by our thinking that we know, and by our expectations. Again, back to expectations. They can really be quite the handicap in our life experience. So that's really what I wanted to say as far as the energy. I feel like it's all opening a lot for us all, and it's helping us disentangle from certain enmeshments that we've had with people from the past, including and especially our parents' energy and their baggage that they've carried, that we've inherited, and so forth and so on. So even when we're not with somebody, even if they're not alive on the planet anymore, we still experience and we feel the entanglement and the enmeshment with these energies. And I feel like this is a brilliant time for us all, an open window, I feel like, leading into the eclipse, a window of opportunity to disentangle ourselves from others' energy that is not ours, that we may have thought was ours, but now we're starting to get, many of us are starting to get a better idea of like, oh, this isn't even mine. This isn't even my belief. This isn't even my energy. Some of us are so energetically sensitive that we find these, when we have the enmeshment or entanglement, I was talking about mine was with my father from a young age, and I was able to disentangle to a degree for most of my life until he died. When he died, it seemed like I had more of his unresolved energy, unhealed energy really clinging to me, and I was enacting a lot of it out on myself then, until I finally snapped out of it and jumped out of it. But in between that and really breaking free, universe had to bring in a whole nother character with the exact same energetic blueprint, the exact same everything to entangle with me until I recognized that this is not a healthy relationship. I had a hard time even calling it a relationship, but there was a deep love there. So that kept me entangled again with another who refused to evolve and heal. So each and every time I was making a conscious effort to go towards my destiny, to evolve, to heal, I felt a pullback. And that pullback, I would always get a glimmer in my mind's eye or signs that it was this person. And I kept blaming that person, right? And like, you keep pulling me back. Your energy keeps pulling me back because this person did not want to change. And that's fine. There are many people on this planet that, hello from Newcastle. There are many people on this planet that are here that are not going to evolve and change, and that's okay. But they are here to show us, what could happen when we don't. Basically, it's always a choice, right? Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, I don't know if she's on here. Like, she might not be on here now. Because there's stuff that's going on. But sending Paula and her family and her grandbaby love. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for including her in. She did pop on earlier, but I know that she's got a lot going on, so sending her love. Hi from Newcastle. Wonderful Horseshoe. I love that. I love that name. So I felt, and I have been, and I had a private session with somebody that really, this session really showed me how the enmeshment and the entanglement can do a number on us in the psychic field. But we have this window of opportunity to really break free from that. So I think that's they're just lower vibrating souls. Yeah, but they choose to. It is really, it's the split between fate and destiny. I mean, if you want to break down what people call twin flame, one wants to stay in the fated circle, the other is going for destiny. There's a push-pull. One's going for the healing, the other's like, no, I don't feel safe. So you feel pulled back. But you know why you even enmeshed in the first place is a trauma bond. There's a similar frequency, there's a similar wound, there's something similar that must be healed. And each time we work on ourselves personally in those areas, when we have the insight and the understanding to heal something that maybe we weren't even fully aware of before having these engagements with other people, that starts to untangle the knot of the entanglement. Yes, exactly. And it's actually, if you think about it, it's kind of a beautiful, beautiful and painful dance that we're doing with the universe here. I always like to put out there energetically that I have hope for all, that everyone eventually will get to a point where they're at least able to not be suffering anymore, but to sit and wait and have expectations, that's just putting the limitations on us. Do you know what I mean? So let's get a reading real quick here. And thank you all for putting out those prayers and those vibes. I know that this makes a difference, and maybe each live we can do this together for all over the world. The world needs healing, needs our prayers. And this is not an easy time, but it can be. We got to break through a lot of the illusions. We got to break through a lot of the faded stuff. And we do that layer by layer. It ebbs and flows, the ups and the downs. Again, it's important to remember what we receive as far as knowledge, insight, awareness, connection when we're on the upper uptick of a frequency. So when we get pulled down, we might go through a little, I forget, because we're in fear or anger or just feeling like crap, but something will click into place where we can bring down to that frequency what we received in the higher frequency. Then we receive a new baseline, so we can flow, and in our baseline, it is constantly elevating. And I don't know if I'm putting the right words to this, but hopefully I'm making some sense here. All right. I know that health has been a big topic that's been coming up lately for most children. I know my grandson's sick, not anything scary like, but still, it's been brought to my attention that there's we've had a lot of solar activity, a lot. And that could do a number on the nervous system, the cardiovascular system. I love it. Beautiful. Okay. So what I'm getting right off the bat here is energetically sensitives, empaths, aka empath, which would be us, to recognize and acknowledge our sensitivity and how we are like a sponge to all of the energy. I mean, just everybody's degree is a little bit different, but for the most part, most of us can concur when we walk into a room, we're going to feel the vibration and the energy of that room, emotionally, physically, and energetically, for sure. And then there's many varying degrees of how we are sensitive to energy. And it is important that we have this awareness so we know what is ours and we know what is not ours. Now, jealousy and envy came out next, which is interesting. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that. But it came out with forgiveness. So I feel like here we have that Mars with Pluto energy. And it could go one of two ways, right? It depends on the expectations, but it also depends on what, also, yes, Chiron, wounds, sensitivities, insecurities, doubts. These are triggers that are being opened up deeply, and maybe some salt being poured into those wounds right now. And as we're energetically sensitive, we're extra sensitive to these things, especially if they are still sore subjects or parts of ourselves that have not even been opened up yet. Mars, Venus, yep, that's what I'm feeling. And then we have the forgiveness. And the first thing I'm hearing is forgive them, they know not what they do. So if you have somebody that is triggering you or pouring salt in your wound, bringing these emotions to the light of consciousness, the best thing you can do is be very present and understand that this is for your highest, greatest good, to take a look in the mirror, in the cosmic mirror of yourself, and find forgiveness for yourself and for others. We'll get a little deeper into that, because that's the first. That hasn't come up. Well, it may have come up in some of the zodiac, but most part it's all about. And the other thing is to be jealous or envious of somebody else for the choices that they made versus the choices that we made. Maybe we decided to stay in a faded. Maybe we weren't able to, maybe we were too afraid to make the choice that we would have desired, but other people have. And then there's all the stories. Well, because they have support and they have money, and there's always excuses. And that's also coming from an inner wound. So if there's a dream, if there's a desire, if there's something that your soul is calling you to do, the best thing that you can do is listen, take heed, and pay attention to where the energy's pulling you, because if you're not listening to that and you fall back into the past, back into the inner narrative of it's not, whatever excuses, blah, 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 or what other people think and say, sure, you're going to be a little salty, salty about what other people did choose to do and ended up being okay after all. Yeah. They're coming in hot today, aren't they? All right. Sorry, guys. I'm going to need a moderator for these readings. I'm not always looking up. Suffering in silence. Yes. So, that's even worse. When you know you have an underlying envy or jealousy towards somebody else, but you also love them, and it's like, I'm not going to show that because that would actually make me look like whatever, but then you end up suffering in silence. So this is for those who are like holding that in, but still keeping that narrative of like, I wish I could have that life. I wish I had the guts or the courage to just jump into the unknown. And I am jealous. To admit it to yourself. So no longer suffering in silence. That's the first step. To get it out. Isn't that one of the first steps in like the 12-step program, to admit you have a problem? Well, admit you have an emotion, a true emotion. You don't have to act on it. It doesn't mean anything, but it at the same time is telling you something deeper about yourself and how you have suppressed yourself with the excuses, the narrative, the story, the mind. Mind runs the show. Yeah. All right. So beautiful. It takes a lot of strength, a lot of spiritual strength. So we go through the spiritual dance of stripping away the ego, of being humbled. Humility is big, to finally release and find forgiveness. Always forgiveness for self, but then forgiveness for others. We have sacrifice at the bottom here. And I'm just getting the old cliche, you gotta sacrifice your old life for your new life here. And that is very true in all ways. That wish, that desire, that's your ascending sign. Yeah. For those who know their ascendant and the house that the ascendant is in. But we can sense, we know, when we're in tune with ourselves, when we're in tune with our dreams, our desires, our wishes, our feelings, our emotions, our intuitive senses, we know. Let's get a couple more cards. I'm going to try not to keep this too long. But this fate versus destiny, man, has been coming up big time. And I wanted to kind of clarify where we sometimes steer the ship the wrong way. Sometimes we end up looking back, looking to the past for answers or for safety or security. We look to others. What would you do? What's your opinion on this? We give our power away. Our power is choice. That is our true power in this lifetime. It's always, every given second of every moment, the universe is, what will you do? What will you do? What will you do in your mind? What will you do physically? What will you choose? Are you going to withhold your love? Or are you going to open up to love? Are you going to withhold your truth? Or are you going to be truthful? Hello, Steph. Late to the show, but hello. We tend to forget about ourselves when it comes to forgiveness. Yes, we do. That is important, though. It is very important. I love this. I usually do 3 cards, but we're doing 2 today. So again, right in alignment, suffering in silence, jealousy, envy, 7 of Swords. It's all in the mind. And the mind can be very deceiving, especially if we're already used to giving our power of choice away. Our power of choice away to the past, our power of choice away to our past experiences. Whatever part in the mind says, well, if you do that, like these bad things will happen. We're already like predicting bad things to happen. Our power of choice to other people. Either saying don't do that, or I've done that. Like, even if somebody says, I've gone to that restaurant, it sucked, would you then not go? Now, some of us may have, like, that might not be the greatest example, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if we give our power of choice away to others, we miss out on our own life experiences. Our power of choice of what other people will think. Their narrative, their story, their experiences, that we make our choices and decisions based off of other people and their choices and decisions. And this is a karmic loop that's been happening over lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But this is a chance to break free from that. Begin making your own choices and decisions by what is going on internally, by your feelings, by your senses, and have the trust, have the faith to jump into the unknown, to jump into unfamiliar territory, and watch life unfold naturally in a beautiful way that actually guides you. You open yourself up, whether you're aware of it or not, you open yourself up to internal guidance when we do that. And watch what happens when we finally break free. All the things that start to open up, like I was saying, the number sequences, all the synchronicities, the serendipity, like we make an internal and energetic shift by that choice alone. And that is taking your power back. The Emperor. That is taking your power back. The power of no is also very strong. That's a choice. It's all a choice. Every single moment of everything we do, everything we think, everything we say, the words we choose to hear. It's all a choice. It's always a choice. And overall, we have the Page of Wands, which speaks of following your passion, regardless. Sure, there's going to be underlying fear, but you'd be pleasantly surprised when you let go of the need to know, when you let go of trying to control, when you just peek into the realm of possibility. Let life start to show you and lead you in that direction. I know so many people that do, and then they go backwards, and that's okay too. That's the waves. Like, oh, this and that. And it's hard to explain to another human being your own life experience, especially with synchronicities, because there's sensations, there's feelings, there's impressions in the mind. There's so much more that's going on, and the timing of it is impeccable. It is very personal. Then you go and tell somebody else about it, and they're just like, yeah, like it washes away all the specialness, all the magic to it. This is your journey. let it unfold for you and have fun with it. But definitely take your power back. Forgive yourself, forgive others. When we hold resentment or an energetic weight over others, that puts a big weight on us. As within, so without. Like attracts like. Reintegration with one's inner child. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it, because that's important. Because children, I was listening to a comedian over the weekend. It was great. He was like, children, when I was a kid, I would just like run out my door and run into the woods, like just not knowing what was out there, and just had a blast. No cell phone. Excuse me. No cell phone, no nothing. Just me and the world. But if I did that now as an adult, and I put my cell phone down and I ran out into the woods, didn't know where I was going, I would suddenly feel like, oh my God, where am I? What? It was funny. I'm like butchering it, but that is like children to have that trust. They just go for it. Sure, we have lessons, we have scars, but for the most part, we've all made it. We've all made it through childhood. We've all made it here. And I say keep going. Reintegrate that inner child. That inner child-like wonder. Yeah. So that's what I have for all of us this evening. Again, I just want to send prayers out to anybody, at all human beings that are suffering, that are going through something very, very challenging and very scary, because I know that that's happening too, on the world stage. And I do want to acknowledge that and put out intentions of healing and love and compassion and grace for all who are going through a really difficult time right now. And remember to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and don't forget how energetically sensitive we really are. Truly. Know thyself, so you know what's yours and what's not yours, energetically, emotionally. That's what I have for us all. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for participating, for putting out your prayers. I really appreciate that. So I'm sending you guys out so much love. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you who celebrate. I hope that it is full of love. And let's just put that love out there into the ethers for all to absorb and possibly, hopefully, open their hearts up to receiving as well. That was fun. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So much love to you. Have a good night or a great day wherever you are in the world. Take care. Bye.